Dr. VTach Show. This podcast is a long-form conversation hosted by Dr. VTach with the top guests in the world of esports. All from owners, pros, semi-pros, former pros, and content creators of many games. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dr. VTach Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. I want to start by saying I truly apologize. My voice is a little bit graspy. I feel under the weather, but many as you know, I just got done from a surgery not too long ago. But please bear with me. Well, guys, I got a special guest, and I'm going to tell you what, this guy, he is tough. So tough. Well, you want to know how tough he is? Well, he arm wrestled in a tournament, won it, and with his two arms tied behind his back. I'm telling you, this guy is tough. He is good.
Wow.
So, guys, I want to introduce you to a longtime friend of mine. And he was with Reality TV. And then from Reality TV, he went to Beastcoast Pro League. Phenomenal player. Guys, I want to introduce you to my good friend, Mr.B.
Hello. Hi, I'm Mr. B, as you've kind of already said. I played a couple seasons in Challenger League under Reality TV, right? Went on to have the most successful Challenger League run of any team ever, and then had a kind of surprise dark horse run in Pro League during, it was stage 1 of 2023.
So man, so what you been doing lately? How's everything with you in particular? How's family? How's everything? How's life? Because I know after you left Beast Coast, a lot of people were like, okay, where did Mr. B go? Where's he at?
Yeah, well, so I'd come off a bit of a pretty miserable stage, right? We'd obviously, the roster changes didn't go the way I wanted. I obviously don't have full authority on the decisions we make, how much money we have, any of these kinds of factors, right? And so we ended up with a roster I wasn't too keen on. And so, obviously I'm going to say this is my full backing, and of course I'm going to go, oh yeah, we're going to win this, we're going to do great. But I have to say that regardless of whether or not it's true. And so we go in and we have a pretty miserable result, last place in the league. And when you're showing up to play in front of, tens of thousands of people, knowing you're going to lose, but having to come in and be like, yeah, this is where we turned around kind of thing, right? Every single time going in and saying something like that, it really eats away at you. And so I just really need a break from all of it. So I finished out stage 2 in 2023, and I decided I was, going to spend the money I'd earned. I was going to go traveling, apply to college, and not necessarily like restart my life, but I've been held back in a lot of ways. I've realized as I was doing this whole esports thing, in not having a college degree, right? And so I thought at the very least, even if I, end up going back and playing pro or whatever, let me get started on that process. Let me actually start focusing and thinking about that. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'd say I'm just starting out kind of my college career, right? Doesn't mean I've put esports entirely in the past, but this is my forefront focus at the moment.
Okay, that's understandable. You're making a wise choice, putting yourself first, college, because you're thinking about more of the future.
Yeah.
For an example, you were to, I don't know if you have a girlfriend now, and if you do, probably, in the future want to get married, you get to meet her parents. They're going to ask you, what do you do for a living? Yeah. How are you going to take care of my daughter?
Yeah, the whole whenever people ask, what do you do for a living, and you're talking to people and you're like, oh well, I play video games. It's not a good look, even if whether or not it pays well or whatever. It's definitely got a bit of a stigma around it.
Yeah, it's the more the stigma is more for the older folks. Mm-hmm. For an example, like my friend Lachlan, he's a caster now.
Yeah.
He can say I'm a caster in esports. And that's good. That's something good. The in esports, the sky's the limit. There's a lot of things you could do in there. But going back to where before you left the pro scene, I'm gonna give you my opinion.
Okay.
I know you're very competitive. You're very good. I am in shock that you didn't continue or another org picked you up. I am in total shock. You're
Yeah.
a very top fragger. I mean, you're really good. You have the skills. You're very competitive and you're very devoted to the team you're with. And that's a good thing. I think what was missing with Beast Coast, and I don't want to discredit the other guys. I know some of the guys are really good friends as well, and they're really cool. The thing is, not everybody works well together. I am 100% sure if your Beast Coast was consist of Packer, Gavini, Giddy, you, and
Tristan.
Tristan.
There you go.
Okay. Oh my freaking goodness.
It would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I know for a fact you guys would have still been together. You guys would have been like dominating. Why? Because of the chemistry. You guys had this so well and so freaking good that you knew what Packer was doing. Packer knew where you were going to do. Giddy knew where you were going to go. You guys had that chemistry, that balance, and knew everything about each other. And you guys were just winning to
Yeah.
the point that you guys won what was it, 22? Challenger League
Yeah. Yeah.
22 undefeated.
Yeah. 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 Well, I'll tell you a little something.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of kind of the whole RTV thing, stage 2, especially, we still had two different, or actually it was one different member. We had Trist on the team, and did we have somebody else? We might have had somebody else. I think it was just Trist. It was Trist, me, Packer, Gavin, and then Giddy, if I'm not wrong. That's something that's not right there, but me and Packer used to go at it. All right, of course, like, we're good friends and teammates, and but we would disagree nonstop about the game, about how we should be playing. Right, every round it would be an argument, and that kind of constant debate over what we should be doing, how we should be playing, give us a complete understanding of how the other person worked within the game. And I think that brought us to a point where no matter what the other person's doing, right? So Packer, he still does it now, but especially back then, what he would often do is during these late round situations, he'd completely flip around to the other side of the map and hit the back, right? But just right as we're executing. And these kind of last minute rotations, at first I'd get fucking annoyed at it because we'd lose out on a man on our main push, and then I would have to basically adjust and whatever. But as you kind of get used to it, I'm able to then know he's going to do that, and then I've already adjusted because I already know he's not there, and so on and so on. And so we basically had the system of knowing that we were going to screw each other over. And it just created this kind of perfect little chemistry between the two of us, where I think he really helped my strategies become a little bit more intricate and bringing in just a whole nother dimension to them that there wasn't there. And I think that's what I've always kind of valued in like my teammates. I've really appreciated that certain people bring to the table. Packer, obviously my right hand man for a long time. I really appreciate all the work he did for me. If you go back to Chess Club, right, another super successful team I had in the past, we beat out what's now basically last season's M80, right, or whatever. You got people like Kino, Gomez, Diaz, all those people. We beat them out on Chess Club. I'd read Sync back then, who went on to win Challenger League, right? So he was kind of my man. Whenever I've had these people that I can kind of rely on to make my strategies into something more, that's when I've always been my most successful. So yeah, I'd say that's kind of the little bit of insight into that kind of chemistry part.
Oh yeah. I mean, I asked one time Packer, I said, Packer, I never heard of a team called Reality TV. What the heck? Out of all the names you could choose, Reality TV? And he goes, yeah, it's the bickering and fighting and all the arguments, but we love each other. We're all close friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so your guys are bickering and fighting. What are you doing over there? You shouldn't do that. And your guys are winning and killing and beating the enemy. And you guys probably just don't even celebrate the victory. And you guys are still arguing about what happened. And then,
Yeah.
like, GG's. Okay,
When the
now,
game finish out,
yeah,
fuck you. All right, I
yeah.
don't want to talk to you
Dude,
anymore.
I don't want to talk
Done.
to you. You guys freaking won. What the
Yeah.
heck? That is crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy. I know
Yeah.
you
No, it
miss
was pretty
that
good.
team. I know you
Oh,
miss
I miss that team
I
so
know you
much.
miss your friends.
Yeah, I think we really got screwed over pretty badly with the whole Challenger League Pro League system.
Mm.
I think both in terms of how it was done and also in terms of the perspective of a lot of kind of pro organizations. I think had it been this season or even like going into this season or going to the prior season, we do the same thing. We would have gone on into pro league as a full team, but it's just the season we were in. I think there was a lot of people who just didn't believe that a group of non-pro league players could really compete at the same level in pro league, and I think uh, that kind of stage one, stage two of last year really kind of changed people's perspective because so many different players came out to pro league and basically just showed a dominant performance. Right, you're looking at people like Hat, Packer, Woos, or not Woos, sorry, Traw or Adam. You're
Mm.
looking at obviously Gavin. You've got Tristan played games in Pro League, although he didn't actually necessarily play on a full team, and he dominated. Right, you've got all these young players coming up, basically just putting on performances, letting people know that hey, I am Pro League material. And all these old players, right? They're on their way out, right? They're not putting in the same effort as I am. I can compete, right? And I think that wasn't necessarily seen in that kind of going into that stage one, and so for us going in, although some of us had individual offers, right? We were never able to. We didn't even get looked at as a full team. Nobody even gave us the time of day.
And your coach was Fett at that time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fett is phenomenal. He's crazy, phenomenal.
Yeah.
He has a very unique style.
He's definitely a character. I think.
Yeah.
I think he helped me a lot as a player, but he also is somebody who I think right now he has the full reins of a team, and although they are being very successful, I think he is very volatile in the way he kind of makes his decisions. I think I am too, by the way. So this is not me, going after him. I think I'm also a very volatile person in the way I make my decisions. I think he's very volatile in the way he makes decisions, and it causes him to create unstable rosters. Right, even if you just look at Beastcoast this stage, they've had 1 week where they were terrible, and then the next week where they're destroying everyone. Right. And then I expect they're going to go next week and they're not going to be destroying everyone, right? Maybe it'll be more middle ground, right? And that's just kind of, I think, the way that system works with him, which can be difficult. But, obviously when it's working, feels great.
Now, I have a question. On the time that Beast Coast dropped every player, there was a moment they just picked up a roster not too long ago.
Yeah.
Did they reach out to you and say, "Hey, should we try to get our buddies back?" Because Packer left wild card, Gavini got dropped from DC. Or I don't know. I think I think he got dropped or he left. I don't know what the scenario is at. Allegedly, that's what kind of like what happened. I don't know if he dropped or he left.
No, he got dropped, but it's
He got dropped. Okay.
silly decision.
Yeah,
I
totally agree, and that's another day and a half of conversation.
Yeah, I've spoken my heart out about my distaste of how Dark Zero runs their systems and organization.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story. I mean, there was a chance that Fett could kind of basically get all you guys together.
Well, so I'll say a few things in terms of that. As it's kind of been said in the past, and it's still currently the case, right? You probably aren't seeing Tristan in Pro League. The huge reason behind that is that Tristan his parental figures don't want him to play pro. They don't. More importantly, they don't want him to travel. They don't want him to move. They don't want him to do any of that. I don't know all the details behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit strange
That's
to
true.
me.
He did tell me something like that.
Yeah.
He's gonna wait and see, and his parents are kind of like strict on that, on him
Yeah.
traveling and stuff.
So that's the
Yeah.
deal with him. And then in terms of me, when I left Beastcoast, I left on pretty bitter terms because they owed me like $3,000 and they refused to pay it out. Actually, it's a little more than that. Yeah, it's more like 5,000. Because it was like my last paycheck and then all the prize winnings for stage 2. They refused to pay out because they basically said we had a breach of contract, basically due to our underperformance.
What? So if
Yeah,
you
there was
lose,
a little bit more to it than that, but
yeah,
yeah, and so I basically was like, hey, this is unreasonable. And so I spoke to some people about potentially doing something, but they're just like, it's $5,000, right? Anything that we could possibly do isn't worth the money, kind of thing. So it sucks, but that's kind of the whole esports problem, is that the amount of money involved is typically not worth as much as getting lawyers involved is. So yeah. But yeah, so I left on pretty bitter terms with them. And so although I actually did get reached out to, Fet reached out to me and said, hey, blah, blah, blah. It's your interest in potentially doing Beastcoast again. You'd be the only he was like, yeah, you're the only person I'm necessarily really interested in maybe bringing in for another stage. And I basically said, I'm not at all interested unless you can, I'm playing with a roster that I really believe in, right? And at the time, you have to keep in mind, I just got out of this really shitty stage, and I just wanted a break. I'd been full on, gas, pedal to metal,
yeah,
gas down. Basically for the last 2 years at that point, no breaks, going 6-7 days a week of practice, and so I was ready for a break, because I think that does take a toll on you, right? Doing, what would it have been? There was weeks where I was doing 80, 100 hours of just like hardcore focus day in day out, because the thing is that people don't kind of talk about, when you've got a job that's as involved as this is, it's not let me show up to my assigned practice hours, I'm going to do this and then I'll be done with it, right? It's if you are not thinking about the game, if you are not practicing, if you're not playing, if you're not doing something related to it nonstop, you will fall behind. And when you fall behind, you will no longer be as, somebody will take your place. Because unlike, an office job, for instance, there's so many people playing this game for fun because they love it, right? Not for the money. And so there's such a huge number of people that you are kind of clawing at your, the back of your throat, waiting for you to make one slip up so they can take your spot. And because they all are, willing to play for less and less, that's another part of the issue, is like it devalues kind of the whole player economy, because people are willing to play for less because they just want to play. Because, obviously they would much rather play a video game than have an office job, and video games are awesome, right? You want to play them.
Correct.
And I absolutely get it. I think it's something that is unique to esports, both in good and bad. But that's kind of the whole thing. I needed a break. It's kind of the long and short of it.
Yeah. Dang it.
I know.
It really bugs me, because I seen it, I saw it,
Yeah.
I saw how you guys play together, how you guys won, the victory after victory after victory. And I said to myself, it's the chemistry. These guys have it. They have it. And if you guys gonna go, you guys got to go together.
I know.
It's the only way.
Oh, I think
I even see Packer when he played with Wildcard. Yeah, he did okay, but not the same as he was with reality TV.
Yeah, it's the same with Beastcoast Stage 1, right? We had a great result. We're 4th place in Pro League. That's nothing. That's not bad by any means.
Correct.
Right? But it's, every time I say that, I'm like, if that was Gavin there, if that was Tristan there, if that was, I'm like, if I had one of my boys there instead of this person.
Oh, it would have been different.
And it sounds a bit silly saying all that, but it's a bit of a shame. I also think if I'd managed to make one of those events, right? Because we were one game off of making the major twice, right? Both through playoffs, last chance qualifiers, and then we were one game off of making the Riyadh kind of event, the Saudi Arabian event. And I think if we'd made any of those, I think that would have also really helped me, both in terms of my career and also just in terms of kind of the motivation, because obviously everything you're doing nonstop is working towards making an event. That's the goal. That's what it's all about, that kind of passion from the fans. And I think missing out on that, I think there was one specific game in stage one that kind of broke me a little bit. I think it was the last chance qualifiers to make the major. We were against Sonics, and I think that's the game the best IGLing I've ever done. Right? I'd kind of everything I called that game was perfect, and we were just losing anyways. And that one kind of broke me a little bit.
That one hurt.
Yeah, that one hurt because it is a game that meant so much, right? And I had truly done everything I could possibly have done. I was sitting there going, what could I have done? And I can't come up with an answer. And when you reach that point, that's really challenging.
Yeah. Did I know how Seth is. Did he I hope he didn't rub any salt to the wounds.
Oh no, absolutely not. I think
he's a really good guy. I mean, but I know he could take things as a joke and probably joke around, but then I think when he knows that you're hurt, he's not gonna.
Yeah, I think Seth, he might have said something I wouldn't remember, and I honestly I to some extent ignore Seth. I think he's always actually praised me quite a lot as a player, right? I'm not sure many people know, but I was very nearly on the Sonics.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. He was about to get you.
It was between me and Citizen, and it was.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna put it in, and I'm gonna confess. I told him he should have got you, and he kind of gave me his feedback about Citizen, and I'm like, I just don't. I'm gonna be really honest. I got this like this different type of sense in me. You know, it's like God gives me like this type of feeling. It's really weird. I knew when he picked up Citizen, I knew that Citizen wasn't gonna last more than a year. I had that feeling. I said, this guy is not gonna perform like the way Seth is thinking. Seth is going to regret it. He should have picked up Mr.B. And I have that gut feeling. And oh boy, I wanted to tell him. But, at the end of the day, he's the manager. He's going to make his decision and he's going to learn from it. And, so, I mean, what can I say? You're gonna learn through stumbling. And sometimes big European players coming in here to the U.S. doesn't mean they're going to perform the same as they do over there. So then you have a player that has to adapt to you and learn. And then you're going to be like, wait, should we learn from him? Because he was a part of a big org and they always been winning and doing good. So somebody's going to have to learn from each other and it's going to probably cause a big chaos. It's like trying to bring a player that was a previous on the Brazilian league. Yes, they're really good. They perform phenomenal, but it doesn't mean that he's going to do really good because he's with you. And in the American league, I mean, it's going to probably go crazy.
Yeah. Well, so when I tried out with Sonics, that was the tryout I felt the best in. I really thought I was going to get that spot. I felt so good with the team. I felt like I really meshed well into their kind of systems. And I honestly, I really enjoyed playing with that group of players. I've said this quite a lot since I did that, but the best player I've ever played with was Gio. Right, just in those few days I tried out, the best player I ever played with is Gio. Gio is he genuinely understands the game so well, and you have to keep in mind, he's the only player I've ever thought could understand and IGL the game and command a game better than I could. And I tried out with Dark Zero. So I've tried out under Canadian. I've tried out under other people who would be considered the greatest of all time. And I think Gio's the best. Wow. And so that's a spot that I really, really was hoping for.
How come, did he reach out to you on this previous? Because he picked up Adam. He picked up Merc.
Well, I think the thing is I've been out of the game a little bit, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I've been at college, because I've not been, in the practice and all that. It's just one of those things that as soon as you leave for even a second, you kind of leave the equation. Right
Yeah.
now, I've just started kind of coming back into it, starting practicing and all that. And so we'll see where this takes me, right? If I start being able to find my groove again and get back into it, right? I think the meta over the last couple months is definitely not favoring me. I think it's starting to kind of come back to where I'm able to do stuff, because I think the meta over kind of stage 2 and much of this off season, since this last update, was so incredibly defender sided that being in an IGL and kind of in a leadership role really didn't have much value. You couldn't, command a game very well, and it was so much more up to individual plays, which is fine, and it can create an interesting game. But I think from a strategic perspective, it made the game really stale.
Yeah.
So, but I think the game's kind of moving back away from that, and so I'm excited to kind of be getting back into it.
So what is it you're studying right now? What are you in college? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm at ASU right now, Arizona State University, and I'm a history major.
History.
So
Oh, really?
yeah. So I just last night I was finishing up a paper on Nixon's resignation. It's a fun topic. Yeah,
Phenomenal. I
all that good stuff.
love history. That was one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
love it.
it's very very
Love
fun.
it.
I'm
It's
really enjoying it.
interesting. I always like to go back in the past and find out what the heck happened, who did this and who dominated this. And actually when I um graduated in high school, I study history of Puerto Rico, where I'm from.
Oh, nice.
So what I did was they have this program that you study this and you take these courses and you go to this private college and institute, and what they do is they prepare you so you could be in the tourism industry. So
Oh,
you could
okay.
work for any hotel, whatever big major hotels, and you could become your own tour guide, and then you could have your own business. So what I
That's
did
very
was,
interesting. Okay.
oh, it was crazy. It was so much fun, and then everybody tried to make sure they buy either these cargo vans. They're passengers. You could fit like 10 people or 9 people in one van, or you buy a limousine, or you can make it go like a 4 passenger and buy a big sedan, those Lincolns,
Yeah.
or the Mercuries that they use, like in New York, the yellow taxis. So I was saving up money to get one of those because I want to have my own tour guide. But you had to study the history of the island. Oh my God, it was phenomenal. That's when I came to find out that Christopher Columbus did not discover Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
Actually, it was they say they put it in the books like he did, but actually, the person that had the measurements, because when they used to go to the islands, they take these long poles and used to put them down dig them down when they get closer to the shore to see how deep the water is, so their
Hmm.
boats don't get stuck.
Okay.
So they'll go around the island and they'll like, okay, this is 20 feet, this is 30 feet, this is 25. You could go closer, and they'll get the measurements. So they make sure they could go in closer to the point that they don't get stuck. But there
Okay.
was one person that had them um, those measurements, and was De Leon. So somebody totally different. So when they look at
Interesting.
the Christopher Columbus archives, he didn't have it. He had Florida.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he had all the stuff for Florida, but when it come to Puerto Rico, he did not have it. So it's like, wow. So it's like it
That's
just
very
like blows your
interesting.
mind. You start learning all this history and all this stuff, and oh gosh, we go hours upon hours and talking about it. It's really crazy. I always loved history, man. That's kind of awesome. So
Yeah.
you do that, you graduate, you want to become a history teacher, or you want to go into college, university, become a history professor? I mean, you're going for a master's or you're going for your doctorate?
So I was originally I actually started out doing secondary education history. That's kind of what I've just swapped over to being full history because I was taking a lot of education courses, and I think I don't know if you saw, but during kind of the latter half of stage 1 and like the off season going to stage 2, I was doing a lot of coaching, and I found I was really enjoying that kind of that whole educational experience, seeing people's kind of growth. And so I was really interested in potentially becoming an educator, and I was actually not even as much focused on history. But I ended up deciding I was going to do secondary education history. But in kind of taking these courses, I found I was really enjoying these history courses and the education courses. Although I think I will enjoy being a professor potentially, I'm not really enjoying the courses for it because a lot of it is kind of more behavioral based, kind of DEI, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, which is fine. I understand why these courses can be necessary, but they're not something that interests me. And so, I only have so many years I can spend in college. I want to spend that doing things I enjoy and I'm interested in. And then when I end up, because I think I'm going to almost certainly go for my master's, when I go get my master's, regardless of if I have this kind of teaching certificate, as long as I have a PhD, I can go and be a professor.
Okay.
So that's, I think, well, I'll either end up getting that PhD and become a professor, or I might just take my history major and use it, and for business or whatever else, boring stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find out your passion and what you want to do. If you want to go teaching, become a professor in it, there's gonna be something out there.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things I'm very glad I did the Holy Spirit thing, not just because it's been amazing, but also I think it gave me a bit of time before between high school and college where I've been able to kind of just discover myself a little bit, figure out who I am, right? I spent time traveling, right? Of course, playing game, meeting new people. And I think it's just taught me a lot about myself. I think if I'd come straight out of high school, I've been a bit clueless, but going in, I'm able to be like, hey, I'm really enjoying this topic. I'm able to kind of know who I am a little bit. And then, of course, I don't know everything about what I want to do, but it doesn't really matter. I can take the little bits I enjoy at the moment, and then as long as it's building towards something, I can eventually make that decision.
Correct. Now you're getting your associate's degree right now?
Yes.
Okay. So you got what, 2 years to like decide, okay, I'm going to keep on going at this 100% full throttle, or I want to just hold back. But you want to get done with that associate's degree. You want to get taken care of that, get that out of the way. Because that's just like repeating high school all over again. And a lot of things. They teach you all like the math and all this stuff, like the associates. I think that's what it is.
No, I'm getting a 1 second. Sorry, no, I'm doing a bachelor's. That's what I'm doing. Sorry, not an associate's.
Oh, you're doing a bachelor's?
Yeah. So
okay. Now that's a different ballpark.
Yeah, I'm doing a 4-year. So it's, sorry, I'm kind of screwed up my camera. Give me a second here. Is that a little bit better?
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It doesn't record.
Oh, sorry.
That's just for us. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's audio podcast only.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Well, so I'm doing a 4-year, so I've got a lot of kind of time and to figure out what I want to do to an extent. But I'm really enjoying the whole history part of it. I don't think I'm necessarily going to switch off of that. Of course, I might switch like exactly what genre I'm doing within that and get into the more specifics, especially as I move more into doing my PhD. But generally, I think I'm pretty set in terms of what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's good. You feel it. You would know it, what you want to do, and then just once you capture it in your hands, just go for it.
Yeah.
Go 100%. And then, sky's the limit. I think going into education is really nice. And then your tough decision is going to be like, okay, I already got everything. I graduated. Am I going to go now work for a public school, private school, or go for university? I know public school is very scary. Like, oh gosh, I don't know. I want to think about this one.
And the money is definitely not quite there in the public schools.
And the money is quite not there. That's unfortunate because I think public school teachers they should probably get paid the most.
Well, they're bringing up our whole generation. They are the future. So I feel like
Yeah.
we really got to be investing in that.
And then all the stuff, the drama, the threats. There's this, I'm probably you saw this already in the news. The teacher took away a Nintendo or cell phone from a kid and he beats her up to the point that she was knocked out. I mean, it was just like, you look at this type of stuff, like what's going on in America? What now? Teachers are going to be like, wait 1 second, I think I'm going to change course. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go ahead and study to become a teacher, or I'm not going to work for a public school ever. Look what's going on.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing. I think most people I've kind of met who are kind of doing the whole teaching thing, they are pretty passionate about wanting to do this. It's interesting. I'm about the only guy here. So I'm still technically in like the teaching part of it because I did start out as an education major, even though I'm now swapping just full history. So basically all my peers are education majors still, and they're super dedicated to wanting to be these teachers. But it's interesting because it's basically all women. In my classes, I think the most guys in a single class that I'm in is 3. Right, I'm one of 3 guys, and these are classes of 20, 30 people. Uh, but I think in terms of the worry of people not going into it, there's definitely more so than the worry of physical harm or anything. I hear so many people talking about it, and it's the same thing I was just talking about. I'm worried about going into a career where I'm at most making like $40,000-$50,000 straight out, right? Whereas if I'm getting a business degree, I can expect 60,000-80,000 straight out of college, and that difference in that huge jump in pay, that's massive. That's life altering by massive margins. So yeah, it's definitely worrying, especially the cost of living and everything right now.
Oh yeah. That's why I mean I took mine a little bit late route because I studied tourism and in the hotel industry and all this stuff. And then when I came to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, what I study is gonna be pointless. I studied the history, but then again, I worked for Wyndham and I worked for Waldorf Astoria, and I contact some friends. They go, "Oh yeah, you can work at any Wyndham. You already got a history with us, and since basically every position there is in the hotel industry, you could just start working." I'm like, really? And like, yeah. They go, you were in concierge, you were front desk, you did bellboy, you did everything. And the only thing you didn't do was a chef cooking or whatever. And they said, hey, they could put you in a program, then they'll pay for your schooling so you could become a
Yeah.
chef and all this and that. So there's programs to help you out. So then I was like, do I want to go back in the hotel industry? Do I want to do this again? And I just didn't feel passionate about it. And then I'm like, man, there's something that I should do. And my wife's a nurse. She's a
Mm-hmm.
manager of her entire unit.
Oh wow. Okay.
And she was like, why don't you get into the medical field? I'm like, medical field? I like the sounds of that. You remember Back to the Future when
Um.
he goes, oh yeah, you're going to be the mayor.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, mayor. I like the sound of Goldie
Oh
Wilson,
god.
mayor.
So good.
That's that moment. That's what happened to me. I was like, medical field. Heck yeah. This is what I would like to do. And it just clicked with me. I just got into it and studied, and there's courses, there's you could just take, it takes 2 years, you could start working and
Oh,
start
that's
averaging
fantastic.
really good money, like 50 grand and up a year. And so the sky's the limit as well in the medical field.
Yeah, no, medical field.
There's a
That's where
lot
it's
of
at.
stuff. There's people that are ITs. Hospital, we need ITs all the time. There's people trying to hack every single day. We need people to fix,
That's
computers, the
That's
system goes down.
so screwed up, by the way.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me, it's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
my closest mate, he works IT,
oh,
and yeah, and so he's a very very strange individual, but he's so dedicated to his job. He works at for the banks,
mhm.
and does IT there, so they're always dealing with their own hacks and all that. But he'll basically do nothing for weeks on end, and then they'll be like, "All right, you've got to do your job," and then he'll work for 3 days straight, and I will not hear, you know, there will not be a squeak from him for those 3 days because he is non-stop working. It's just that's kind of the way it works, I guess, with those kinds of jobs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's it takes a lot of dedication, especially an IT job. And then the banks, forget about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
The hospital, same thing. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's what I did, and I love it. And my thing is like, man, why didn't I do this when I was 18? When I got out of high school, why didn't I go for this type of career?
I think it's just
And
hard.
it's just really hard because when you get out of high school, you just don't know. And then you see other people's success and all this stuff, and then you're like, okay, I should do what they're doing. They just work their 9 to 5 job, and they're just partying, having a good time. And
I don't
then
know.
then it's like, but you're not thinking way ahead.
But these people, yeah, they're so. I find so many of them are just so miserable when it comes to it. When like especially later on, when these people who just went, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go work this 9 to 5 at whatever company. I don't care, make decent money, and then that'll be it. I think it's just if it's not something that you have any stake in the game for, right? I think you gotta find something that you have some kind of passion for. I think it eats away at you.
Yeah, you gotta have something that gives you that edge, the passion, so you could do what you want to later on. It takes a while, and I
Yeah.
told my wife because she told me, "Why didn't you do this when you got out?" And I said, "You know what? I don't know, but there's a purpose for everything." Because I told her, let's just say that I went ahead and did it. Now I probably just shifted my whole entire future. I probably would have gotten married with another nurse. And she goes, nah, you're right. Thank God you didn't go for it. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows? Because I met her working in a hospital.
that's
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. So I mean, you just don't know. Right now, you're in the moment, live the moment, do what you got to do, and
Absolutely.
and everything's gonna come to you. Everything's gonna work out fine.
Well, yeah, that's so wow. I'm kind of I don't know. I've always had this thing where I just want to my whole life I just want to do as many cool things as I can do. Right? I want to have a Wikipedia page of a bunch of
Mhm.
where everyone go and they go like that guy he did some pretty cool stuff. That was a good life, right? And I think that's kind of my whole personal goal. And so I'm just absolutely live in the moment, do what I can do, and even if it's just one person, be like, this guy had this one cool thing that he did when I was around him, right? It was just fun, whatever moment, right? And I just a story you can tell about me, or whatever. I think that's fun. That's what it's about. Those kind of little moments where it's just like, oh, that's what people care about. That's what matters.
That's true. Well, you made an impact in my life, and something that I'll tell my kids, like my son and stuff that's into gaming, is how a team went undefeated because that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Well, I
And
think.
then, well, on top of that, you said you were gonna go undefeated.
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna win this undefeated. I was like, oh God.
It's
I
gonna go
hope
so
he
badly.
better, yeah, he better win it because
Oh,
if he
it
doesn't,
was it was so funny on the last game, the very last game. We were against a team that was doing pretty poorly. It was actually I think it was Carnico. We were against Carnico,
oh,
with like Brios and them, and we were down. We were down like 0-4. There was and we were like we still had control of the game. We thought we were fine, but there was definitely kind of that thing in the back of our minds. If we lose this one, the very last one,
oh God.
that would have
They
been
were
rough.
gonna roast you
Oh, they would have been
forever.
they would have gone on and on.
They would have roasted you, man. They would have
Yeah,
roasted
I know
you.
we lost one map in the grand finals of the playoffs. we still won the game, obviously, but we lost one map,
Yeah.
and instantly people were like, does that count? Does that,
Oh yeah.
you know, is that undefeated still?
I mean, you're undefeated. You won.
Yeah, no, obviously,
But you know,
but people just,
people are just
wanted
gonna
to take anything they
troll.
could.
Yeah, they're gonna troll and try to roast you as much as they can.
Absolutely.
And probably you guys needed to argue. I mean, I don't know. We couldn't hear what you guys were saying.
Oh, I
Probably
wish
you
they'd
needed.
had those comms in at the time. It would have been so fun.
Probably you need to argue with Packer. Packer arguing with you and him laughing, acting like a
Oh my
goofball.
god.
Probably Gavini also arguing with you guys. You know,
No,
everybody.
Gavin
Then
was
you
the
start
mitigator.
winning.
Gavin was the mitigator. Me and Packer would be at each other's throats, and Gavin would just say something stupid just to break it up. He would say something stupid, just so stupid that we couldn't keep our argument going because we had to address that he was being an idiot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know, I that's why I say a good team has a good chemistry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what's really funny on Twitter? I think yesterday somebody put out LeBron James or Michael Jordan or something like that. So then comes to me, you know, I saw it. I'm gonna tweet back, and I put down. I didn't know I was gonna get so many likes and like reviews, and I mean a lot of people giving me, you know, good feedback, etc. So I put down. Let me see here. I'm trying to find it.
No worries.
Oh, here we go. I said that's easy. Michael Jordan. While LeBron had to jump from team to team, top teams, team to team, in order to win championships, Michael Jordan won 6 with the same team.
Yeah.
I said basically, and those 6, he basically did it back to back. 2 3-peats because he took a break.
It was also a point in time where that was just so unprecedented.
I mean,
I think now we've got so many more superstar players that kind of control the game by themselves a little bit more. So back then, Michael Jordan came in and just out of nowhere, it's instant star.
Of course, he was good already in college.
Oh yeah.
But remember, I mean, Kobe Bryant came also in. He played against Kobe. Kobe played against him. And also Michael Jordan played against Allen Iverson, you know, played some big name. He had to go also, I think he played against a Czech. I mean, it was interesting. Yes, on his final years before he switched over to he retired, and then from the Bulls, and he went with the Wizards. I think he did that to fund. He played with the Wizard was to fund 9/11 or something like that. I looked that up, and it was he wasn't gonna go hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, he knew his knees were giving up. Also, the shoes that he was playing with, they were a lot worse than the shoes are now. If you look at a documentary, The Last Dance, I think they were talking about that.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Last Dance with the Bulls.
Yeah, I don't remember.
His shoes, they sucked. These guys' shoes now have so much technology into it and cushion and how they can support your ankles and support your back. But these guys now wearing those same shoes that Michael had to use, they're gonna be getting injury left and right. They're gonna be hurting.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of things. Also, there's some different rules and stuff like that. But still, to win 6 championships back to back with the same team, that's a whole nother level. And then you got Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe is the one that gets the closest to get there. He won 5 championships. Phenomenal player. Did superb. Also with this same team. He never left. So, you know, it's one of those things that I say, you call yourself the great, you know, you stick with the same team and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So, and I always saw that like that, you know, how some people would just call certain things and this is the best, or I got the best, or this is the best team, you know. I said, listen, you know, try to pull this.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to think about. It's like, if we could have all stayed together and, you know, made something happen. God, I
If you guys would all stay together, I think 100. I believe in myself.
yeah,
I believe
it just wasn't.
100%. You guys would have.
Yeah, it's just a shame that at the time it just wasn't really doable because of course everyone's young and they've got their parents like, hey, where's when are you going to start getting draw, when is this going to start happening, when do you start making money off this? So as soon as somebody gets an offer, it's hard to be going, well, I've got this offer for a bunch of money from a good team, am I going to turn it down, right? It's like, so Gavin with Dark Zero, it's he's not going to turn down that offer, obviously. So it's just it's a difficult situation.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Now, what's getting you to come back to Rainbow? What's motivating you? The new stuff, the new ops?
So it's less of the new stuff. I think it's kind of just, especially with some of the changes they've made. I think that, as I kind of said previously, the game had become really defender-sided for a bit, to the point where it just wasn't. As an IGL, your purpose was kind of just to set things up and hope that people made plays to an extent, and then those people would either make plays and win them, or not make the plays and lose. And you kind of lost that whole aspect of being able to win around off of great calls. And I think that's kind of starting to come back now a lot, especially with kind of the zombie nerfs and just I think a lot of Desmo's coming in, kind of nerfing Solus, a whole bunch of things that kind of innately just made defense a bit weaker. And it's still by no means an attacker-sided meta or anything. It's just that the attack now has a chance again, and so I think it's made the game more interesting from a kind of leadership and IGLing perspective.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think about the new op?
I think Desmos is really cool. I think really great integration. I think he suffers from a similar issue that kind of Jackal has. He is, if you're the individual that's getting tracked or whatever, it's really unfun. It's not fun at all, right? Because you're sitting there like, well, I just can't fight him. I just lose. That's my bad, right? And there is of course a little bit of counterplay, but obviously with you get the little bit of pings back, but it's just an unfair
You think they're
fight.
gonna buff that?
No, and I don't think they should. I think it's the innate problem of kind of having these operators that affect the gunfights. I think it's something that Ubisoft should definitely. I would love if they looked into it at some point. I think another one that's a huge issue right now, Fenrir. I think the addition of Fenrir, you're losing out on a huge part of the game by affecting like the individual gunfights. Like you can, of course, the whole point is to get advantages in gunfights and disadvantages, but it should be every fight you go into, you should go, I have a chance of winning this fight. I can win this fight if I'm the better player. But I think some of the new ops are really not necessarily leaning in that direction. It's a little bit problematic, I think, especially it's as with Desmos and Jackal, it'll be Desmos is fine. He's not unbalanced. He's just similar to Jackal. It's not fun to play against if you're that individual that's getting targeted.
Yeah,
and so
that's true.
For competitive, that doesn't really matter. But for a ranked setting, that's I
Yeah,
think it's more problematic. And I think unlike a lot of other people, I'm of the mindset you should not be balancing for pro. You should balance for kind of the casual players, right? Balance to make the game fun first, right?
correct.
Well, you can, of course, I'm not saying you can't keep any kind of competitive aspects in mind or balance issues in mind, but primarily make the game fun. Because if it's fun, you have the player base and all that can then support a competitive ecosystem. Without that, none of it, the rest of it matters. And then once the game's fun, right, keep making sure it's fun, and you can be like, hey, let's maybe try to tweak a little bit thing here to make it a little more balanced. But really, the players, it should be more so on the players to adapt to what's going to work within that kind of fun environment. Because the game's never going to be balanced, right? As you look, you'll always see the same 5-10 operators being picked 90% of the time. That's just
Correct.
the way, the game and every game kind of works. Because even if it's only 1% better, right? The difference between 1% and 10%, the pros are still going to pick the even if it's 1%, they're going to pick it regardless, right? So focus more on, constantly shifting that around a little bit. So it's because I don't want to be seeing every single game for the next, 6 months. I don't want to see Fenrir in every single game because he's really, really strong. That's not fun, right? I want, let's maybe nerf Fenrir and bring another op to be better. Even if that op's now a little bit broken. Let's say, right, Grim became a little bit broken. That's not a problem. As long as we're constantly kind of shifting it. We need to be changing what's good, what's really strong. Because that changes the meta and in turn creates fresh gameplay, right? I think that from game design standpoint, I think that's more important than anything else.
You remember when Buck came in? Not Buck, it's Blackbeard.
Blackbeard, yes.
Blackbeard.
Yeah,
Oh my
Blackbeard
god.
was a problem. They gutted him to basically remove him from the game in a sense.
Yeah. Because it was causing a lot of issues. A lot of people complained. I think it was the those little portable shields, and then you can't kill him through there. And if he crouched down, forget about it, or he took an angle, there was like no possible way.
I think it's the same problem with a lot of these new operators I'm talking about. It's Blackbeard fundamentally broke one of the rules of Siege, right? One shot headshot. And I think a lot of these new
Right.
operators are doing similar things, right? You look at Solus. Solus, you can no longer drone properly. And that's, one of the fundamental rules of Siege. And I think it's, Fenrir, you can no longer see, right? Like these kind of basic things that I'm like, hey, I should be able to do this thing, are being removed by these gadgets. And I think that's a bit problematic. I think that's where we're kind of running into some issues with these newer operators. I think it's not that they're necessarily doing too much. It's that they're breaking the fundamental rules, which therefore shift the game in a direction that isn't necessarily fun.
Yeah, it causes issues because it's true with Solus. I mean, I can't put a drone out and then it's gonna get destroyed. She just scans. Oh, there's a drone. Destroy. Also, then what's the purpose of having drones in the first place?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is everyone goes, well, pre-place. Why didn't you just drone this? Why didn't you play this? That's why Siege is the game it is. And so, same with the one-shot headshot, same with being able to have full visibility. Like all these things are fundamental to what Siege is, and these new operators are like, nope, that's not a thing anymore, right? And you're going, what? What's going on here? What am I meant to do? I think it's that's problematic.
Well, they did mention, Ubisoft did mention they're going to go ahead and one of these seasons, one of these updates, they're going to go ahead and make that Solus gadgets does not work in prep phase.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good.
That is going to change it. That's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because at least you could make your placements, you could place your drones, and then you don't have to worry about her just like destroying it in prep phase. So her gadget's not going to work in prep phase, which is a good thing. I'm going to be happy.
Really good thing.
That is a very good thing.
But my issue is it's not like we're waiting a week for these changes. The problem is for me that we're waiting a year, 2 years for some of these changes to come out.
It's going to be freaking long time.
It's just tiring to wait that long for things that on release people are saying these things are broken, and Ubisoft just doesn't make the changes, right? A zombie, it was 2.5 years from release for a zombie to be nerfed. That's absurd. That's crazy. In any other game, that would just be unacceptable because they have competition. The only reason Siege is allowed to get away with these poor practices is because there's just no competition in the same genre.
There's none.
There's none. There's no game like Siege.
Yeah. Siege is a unique and one of a kind. And if you try to do anything the same what they're doing, they're gonna try to sue you. I think there was a mobile game that was like Siege, and they took it down. They fought it, and they're like, nope, you can't do it. It's copyright. Yeah. It's like Siege.
I think there's definitely a way to do it around the whole copyright laws, but it's just it's one. I think the market isn't that massive in comparison to just making a classic shooter game. So people aren't really coming in and trying to steal the market share, especially the AAA developers, right? Obviously, it's hard for an indie developer to compete with Ubisoft. It's just not really feasible.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I wish there's more than just Rainbow, because then it'll make them on edge. It will put them to work harder. Doesn't mean I'm going to switch to another another game, but I just want them to have competition.
No, absolutely.
Call of Duty had Battlefield. They were always competing and fighting. Woo! And some people, I like the war games on, first person shooter on Call of Duty, or I like Battlefield, and that was that rivalry. And each year, each
Mhm.
game will put out something good, and better.
Well, I think the easiest thing to look at is just these battle royale games, right?
Yeah,
There was this huge craze of battle royale games. You're seeing Fortnite, Apex, PUBG, right? And every game is constantly having to update and improve, try and keep
of
this fit player
course.
base because there's such a big player base in it, and there's such a untapped market that everyone's like, I need to get as many of these players as I can in my game. And so you're seeing these games roll out update after update and constantly trying to perfect their game, make it more and more enjoyable, and find their own niche within it. And that's what should be they should be trying to do. But Siege doesn't have to do that. They're completely untouched in that market of kind of these tactical multiplayer shooter games.
Yeah, because Siege, and I said this before in previous podcasts. It's there. Siege is like a game of chess. You got to really freaking think what you're gonna do next.
Yeah.
What's your role? What's the play? And there's times it's like when I'm playing, I like to trick everybody. I go on the other side behind the map and just wait and wait and wait, and then I'll go and kill everybody from behind. And there's no game out there that you could just kind of like do that.
Yeah.
There's none. All these other games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, uh, Titanfall, all these action packed Warzone, whatever. It's just all fast paced shooting, killing, and then you got to shoot 1,000 bullets to kill one person. Or Halo,
Yeah.
which I used to be into a lot, Halo Infinite, and I loved it. And then you just got to kill. You got to take a lot of bullets, to kill one person.
Mm-hmm.
Versus in Rainbow, just one bullet, you could kill a person with a headshot. That's it. You're done.
What's your opinion on the whole one shot headshot debate that these people are having? I know a lot of people are saying that maybe one shot headshot should be removed. What's your kind of whole opinion on that?
Well, remember, to have that accuracy and that aim, you got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to do a headshot. I mean, you gotta. It takes years of practice. The flick, making sure you could do it, accuracy. Do it perfectly. I think what happened is that they trying to make it as most realistic as well when it comes to injuries. So they say, well, if a human being gets hit with a bullet in their head, that person's going to die immediately. Then you got your vest, bulletproof vest, got the other stuff. Well, we'll let that extend a little bit more bullets than regular. I think that's what they initially try to do and just implement that like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since I don't compete anymore, I just kind of like I don't mind it. Some people don't want it. Some people do. Some people would rather have you should have several extra bullets. But then what's going to happen is that let's say you're fighting against time and you got 3 seconds. And what are you going to do? You could waste 4 bullets, but if you do that, your seconds are going to be up, or you could one tap him in the head, dies, and you could plant or whatever. So it's like it is up to, yeah, what are you going to do? That happened as well with the knife. I remember way back years ago, knifing. They're like, oh, you should just not knife, and the person shouldn't die as quick. They should have to knife 3 times.
That's crazy, man.
And I was like, damn, 3 times. And like, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be that close to them to do
Yeah. So they kind of prefer that. I remember those, but this is back in the console days.
Mm-hmm.
There were just talks in the console. Oh, you could just how can you just die with one swipe? I think that's as it is in most of the games. You get really close, one swipe, you're dead.
Especially in a game that you die as fast as Siege, I think.
Yeah.
You can manage to get that close.
Yeah. I mean, to be really honest, it's a really good question, but I mean, who's going to one tap? I mean, are you that good? Your accuracy is always going to be a headshot. And I mean, I think there's very few there that have that type of, that aim. Like Chico has it. He doesn't have to worry if he only has 20 bullets left.
Yeah.
he would know how to use those 20 bullets and aim for the head.
I think it's
It just depends.
one of those things where it's a debate a lot of pros are having, right? And all this, and the idea is that obviously you have to if you take more bullets to die, then the better player is going to win more often because they're going to hit more bullets. But I think that's not always necessarily true, and I think it's one of those things. I think what makes Siege so unique is that the worst player can kill the best player, right? If they just happen to hit that one bullet,
That
they
one
can
bullet.
play if even for that half a tenth of a second, they can play well, right? That's all it takes to be able to win a fight in Siege. I think I like that. I think that's a good thing. And yeah, if you're the good player and you die sometimes to a bad player, it sucks. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, you know what? I tell people this. If you're in the pro leagues and you're wearing a jersey, then everybody's good. Then you're good.
Yeah.
To get there to that level, to become a pro, you got to be freaking good.
Yeah.
If you got a jersey to go in the NBA and you're going to play with a whatever team, to get there, you got to be good.
Yeah.
All of them are considered professionals. So once you're in pro league in esports, you are now officially a professional. So you're good. You just got to know how to fight. You just got to know how to battle out. Now it's different. Now you're not playing against college or,
Yeah.
you understand what I mean? Now
Yeah,
you're going with the
absolutely.
big boys. They're just good as you. So step up your game. Got to step it up.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I think you can have this debate all you want, but I think at the end of the day, it's just I think changing the game around the pros like that is not. I don't think that's a good thing. Just
I
deal
don't.
with it. Get
I
used
think
to
they
it.
should just keep it as it is. If
Yeah,
one
I agree.
headshot is you're just dead, then fine, keep it like that.
I think
Because it's gonna come to a
that's
point,
Siege.
it's gonna backfire on you, and then you're gonna regret it,
Yeah,
and then you're gonna want it to come back. And the same thing happened with freaking Unranked, because I always loved
I
Unranked.
yeah
They said, okay, fine. Oh, Unranked sucks. Okay. I said, tell you what, Unranked is where the less amount cheaters are at, but I'm still
hmm
having fun. Like if it's ranked, it's not affecting me. And then all of a sudden they come
yeah.
up with this casual 2.0
Oh,
and calling it standard, which is horrible. You can't ban maps, you can't ban operators. I am like livid. And
yeah,
now everybody's like, oh man, I miss Unranked. I told you
dude.
so.
T Hunt. Oh my god, the removal of T Hunt is so heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
used to I used to play T Hunt, 3-4 hours. That was my practice. I would just sit there and I would grind T Hunt to work on my aim. It's gone. Can't do that anymore.
you can't do that no more.
No. And they're like, oh yeah, we got these really great AI bots that I have to sit in a lobby, wait through a drone phase, then have to run on the map, try and find them. It's like, that's not the point. I'm not. I'll just go play a regular game at that point.
Yeah. T Hunt is like you're getting ganged up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Stay in that location and you're just gonna just spec the fight. Boom, 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 and
Yeah.
get attacked. And it just makes your reaction time go faster, faster,
Mhm.
faster, faster.
Absolutely.
And that's what made it really fun. And everybody, I mean, I seen Bolo doing it, I seen Shaiko using it. All these guys, they were just using it, and they will just like concentrate on their aiming and the headshots and just going, trying to perfection it. And obviously, T Hunt is T Hunt, but then when you're competing, is a different story. But
Yeah.
still, it
But you
helps you.
use those things that you practice and
Yeah,
practice and practice
it
and practice.
helps you with your reaction time. It helps you with your accuracy. It helped you out so much. And they removed it, and that was just like a kaplumps.
Yeah,
It was it was a brutal blow.
It really was. I think
So
that was a really, really, really bad change. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things. Just we can always debate about what should change, what shouldn't change. I think it's just as pros, we kind of got to sit there and deal with it.
you gotta suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
they say.
Exactly.
Tough cookies.
Exactly.
Take it.
You're getting paid. Deal with it.
Deal with it. You're getting paid. Take it.
Yeah.
I don't care. You're gonna take it. I mean, I mean, obviously, I want everybody to be happy. I want the pros to be
Mhm.
happy. I want all the players and fans to be happy and play a game that they like.
Yeah.
I really want them. I understand what they did with Frost. I was kind of just I main Frost.
Yeah.
The trap thing. It takes time to get out. Yes, fine, but I think the time is too fast. You get on
agree.
the trap, click, and all of a sudden you see the person already breaking to get out. I'm like, what
Yeah,
the
I think
heck?
I agree.
What's the purpose of the trap then?
And it means you have to be nearby the trap and all that.
You
And
got to
it's
be so nearby. I mean, if you give it 5 seconds, time it by the time, because before you're there stuck until somebody comes over and frees
yeah,
you.
and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't know. I'm just
It it
I don't
it's
think it was
it
enough.
just it it drove me insane. I was really upset, and I'm like, okay, fine, let's do a happy medium. Have the enemy, whoever gets hit in the frost trap, have them stay for a good several seconds, 10 seconds or 8 seconds, until it gives them the opportunity to release themselves, unleash,
Yeah.
get out of that trap. Because it's not fair. As soon as they get trapped, they're able to get out. So this it's no purpose. And I got
So yeah, so
killed
what's the
like that
point?
so many times. I'm like, man, now I had to try to play really, really close
Yeah.
and or just very nearby, to the point that if that person just lands on it, I have to shoot them real
Well,
quick.
so we were playing Major Quals actually. It would have been what, Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going up a staircase, looking the opposite direction, stepping across the mat, right? Nobody's able to get there in time, so I pick myself back up and I kill a guy, we win the round, right? It's
It's
like,
like,
yeah, and I don't know. I when I got hit by that frost mat, I'm like, oh, I screwed up, but it doesn't matter, and that's, I think, problematic. I should be getting
yes,
punished for that, right? The fact that I am, trying to skip a step in order to be a little more stealthy, I should then therefore be punished because they've, although I'm not sure they necessarily thought that hard about it. I think I should get punished because I didn't think about it.
correct. It's like the cap can traps.
Yeah.
Now you got to put a lot more in order to kill
I like the
somebody.
cap can changes though, because before with the
Yeah.
red line, you
Oh
could see
yeah,
that. Yeah.
that was a pain. That
Yeah,
was
and,
like a
and everyone
dead
just saw it.
giveaway.
I know. The new Captain Traps, I like him. He's viable in Pro League. Like, I think when Trap Ops are viable in Pro League, that's a good thing. I think
Yeah.
you're putting him in a good place.
Now, Mr. B, I'm gonna go backtrack a little bit here because I know time is
No
to the
worries.
limit. You got
I appreciate it.
some scrims and some games to play. How did the name Mr. B came about?
So this is an interesting one. So my name's actually, I'm Lachlan Michael Robert Brown. That's my full name. Um, and so before I was Mr. B, I was LMRB. Uh, and so I had joined a stream one day. I'd sent in a message or whatever. And I was kind of just, this was what, 6 years ago or something. I was just getting into competitive Siege, right? My name's LMRB, and I'm thinking about switching my name because obviously LMRB isn't an easy name. It doesn't roll off the tongue. And so I go in the Switch stream and he's like, "Hey, I'm Mr. B," and I was like, "Shit, that's pretty good."
Hey, I
And
like
it's,
the sounds of
yeah,
that.
and so. And so because it was all lowercase, so the L looked like an I.
Mm,
And so I, kind of took that and ran with it. So it's technically Mr. B is Michael Robert Brown. But Mr. B just works.
Freaking phenomenal! That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That is freaking crazy. And then how you started gaming? You started playing on console, I assume,
No,
before you got into PC.
I was actually, so I never played consoles. I played on a MacBook.
Mm,
Not Siege. I played games on a MacBook. I started, playing games, obviously really young. Uh, but I started really kind of getting games when I was like 8 years old, and I got this shitty hand-me-down MacBook that could barely run anything. I'd play games on like 13 FPS. I remember playing games on, less than 10 frames per second at times, and that was a regular thing. I was just used to it. That's just how I played games. And the first kind of, I guess, shooter game that I got into was CSGO. And I played CSGO on this MacBook. I would play it in, 20 FPS on a trackpad, okay? On a trackpad. And I hit Gold Nova, which is like top 40-50% of players, right? It's not terrible, but it's not amazing, but it's definitely not terrible.
Right.
On a MacBook, 20 FPS with the trackpad, and I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. And so that then obviously I get a mouse, and then eventually I get a PC, and like the first game I got when I got a PC, right? This would have been 7 years ago now, was Siege. I got Siege, and I was like,
And you got hooked.
my best buddy, he was like, you got to play this game. It's so sick. It's called Siege. It's all these cool things. And, he'd tell me all about it. And eventually, when I got the computer, I was like, all right, I'm going to get Siege. I'll play this game.
That's when Siege back in the day was like I found it very hardcore. It was non-political, none of the baloney, because now they mix up a lot of things that I just think all the stuff just stay away from gaming and just gaming stay as gaming. So now is they just put a lot of certain things, and it's like, okay, what's that have to do with this? Now the characters, they change them, and because I think in the beginning they try to have their operators and characters to be more like how it is Call of Duty has them, and Battlefield, same type.
Yeah.
Like you got the Marines, you got the Army. Now it's more based on it's very different. It's like it's changed.
Mm-hmm,
So back in the days when it first came out, obviously, it was just like they just have your essential your 5 or I think 6 players, I think 6 operators or 8, something like that.
I didn't start quite that early, but
Yeah, I played beta. I started in beta, because I was in Battlefield 4, then I went to beta, and then I left Siege because I thought it was too slow. I got upset because of campers. I said, this game is full of campers. And I was like, duh, this is what this game is about.
Yeah.
You got to kill campers in here. So it was totally different. It was very different. A lot of people didn't get adjusted to it. And there was one person that kind of like broke it and became like the Michael Jordan. That was Kickstar.
Yes.
He just changed and revolutionized everything, and everybody was like, okay, this is the way to play it, like the way he does.
Kickstarter is amazing.
Yeah, then you got other players that are really good.
Macy J kind of brought a lot of popularity, the kind of whole idea of the game.
Macy did some stuff. Other gamers did too. Then you got what is his name from Canada? I think he from Canada. Man, Serenity.
Oh yes, Serenity 17.
Serenity 17.
You play like one stage in Pro League or something. Guy, he kind of just fell off the map. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw him play not too long ago.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What was he doing? Was he just playing?
He was playing with Godly Noob.
Oh shit.
He was playing with Godly Noob, and they were playing, and I don't go to Godly's channel that much, but I was scrolling and I'm looking to see who's playing. So let me check out, Godly Noob, see what's he doing. I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm going, and I'm like, who are you playing with? He says, I'm playing with Serenity. I'm like, holy smack!
Haven't heard
freaking
that
Serenity. I'm like, dude, how's it going? This and that, and then I think Serenity was looking at the chat because he's Godly's now on Kick. He's doing Kick as well, but he was on Kick that day, and then all I hear is Serenity say, "Nah, I just play this for fun now because I'm washed." I'm like, dude, you're not. You just need to play with a good stack, and that's gonna go away. Mm-hmm. But some people, they just burn themselves out, and they just don't want to play no more. And I get to that level too. I get to the point that I'm just like, do I want to continue in esports? Do I want to continue with this? Because it's like a dirty business in a way. To be really honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? This is really dirty.
Yeah.
There's no help. You're going to get everything you want if you're very popular.
Absolutely.
How many followers you have on Twitter, If not Twitter, how many followers do you have on Instagram? If not, how many?
Everyone's always just trying to one up one another.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
if
kind of teamwork in it.
exactly, if you have this amount, then this how successful you're gonna become, and this how good. You know how many people turned down Jinxie like 2 years ago
Oh
when
yeah.
he wanted to do 1v1s? Oh no, man, screw you, dude. No way. Now
Oh my god, anyone would die to be on
they
his
would
stream.
die. They would kiss his rear butt live on TV. They will record it, catch me kissing it because at least I'm gonna get to the 1v1 now. You know, that's how it is.
Mhm.
Where was the love back then? It happens. Even with me. Even
Yeah.
with me. Because when funny story. When I first started the podcast, I was asking a lot of people, hey, you want to come? Nah, man, I'll see how it goes for you. And then I'll come by. I'm like, okay, that's one gonna go on the blacklist. And then I asked a buddy of mine, which is Seth, Super. I said, Super, I need somebody that has a name that is well known to help me start off the podcast. And he says, don't worry about it, Jeff. I got you. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, man, don't worry about it. I got you, brother.
That's so good, man.
I was like, dang. And for that, I'm so truly grateful. So grateful. So grateful. And since then, been on a roll, you know, it's been
Nice.
growing really big. So yeah, so you were on PC, you did that. Going back to what we were talking about, your name, PC, and then how was you got with reality TV?
Well, so reality TV, I was working a job. This was like 2.5 years ago. I was working a job. I was working as a barista. And I just basically an ex-teammate of mine, kind of, hadn't really accomplished anything. Was like, hey, do you want to play CL calls? And I was basically dumb as siege. I was, planning on doing other stuff, and I was working a decent job, and I honestly I hadn't really accomplished too much in Siege in a while, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting ready to potentially move on. I still love the game, but I don't think I can do this, obviously, because I hadn't successfully done anything really. So I'd done chess club a couple years back, but that kind of hadn't turned into anything. So I got asked to play these qualifiers. We go in, and we basically just run through it, beating everybody, qualify for Challenger League, and I'm like, the hell? This was easy. And I kind of just, everything kept going from there. I just kept winning nonstop all the way through, even to Pro League.
Jeez, phenomenal, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. phenomenal. Well, brother, I know time is of essence, and I know you're a busy man, and you're about to go. See, I told you these conversations. I say 1 hour, but brother, it doesn't go like that. It's like I told you so, and be like, dang, I wish I had more time. I didn't know I was gonna have a good time. I know it was gonna be so relaxing. So I told you.
Out.
Yeah, so I told you. Well, the good thing is I'm going to bring you back in the future, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you get to come back and we'll have more stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. And hopefully all of, made a bit of a return by that point. We'll have to see. Who knows? I'll have to.
Who knows? The sky's the limit, man. It's up to you. I mean, you're a freaking beast. So you're really good at this game, and it's like you got the potential, you have everything. You just need to get picked up. I don't know.
I just need to get back to it.
You need to get back to it. And I think in no time, I'm thinking now you got some guys that are not doing anything. You got Packer, you got Gavini, I think he's still available.
Yeah, I think they're kind of playing for their own little, like, kind of plug stacks right now. So we'll see.
Just double check. Just, hey guys, let's play together like old times. Just one game, just one game, And probably they're like,
oh, just one time.
Yeah, just one game. Okay, fine, because I need to go play with so and so. Yeah, no problem. Let's just play one game, and once everybody's together.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, let's see it. And you better stream it, man. I need to see you back on stream.
Dude, I know. It's hard from the dorm room. As you can see, I've kind of that's why my roommate's bed behind me is like
well, you could just turn off the camera and just, put a cover, turn off the camera. and just do it like that, and you be good to go.
All
Okay.
right. Let's see what I can do.
Okay. So I give everybody a minute of a time, so you could tell the fans and the listeners where they could find you, where your socials, everything. The stage is yours.
Yeah, I honestly, only thing, I'm not too active on social media, but you'll find anything to do with me on at Mr.B_R6 on Twitter, right? I'm active there enough. You'll see, if I am doing something, it'll be there. So that's where I would go. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, there you have it. That was Mr. B. Thank you so much, Mr. B. That's not going to be the last time. We know you're coming back soon, and
Absolutely.
we'll keep in contact. So thank you. Okay, folks, take care. Till next time. God bless. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. VTach Show. And don't forget to follow and give 5-star rating.